Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our first virtual business workshop for 2022. My name is Michael Caseo. I'm the Commissioner of the Niagara County Department of Economic Development, and we welcome you. This is going to be the first of four workshops in 2022. Two of them are going to be content specific, and that includes this morning's workshop, which will focus on workforce development and training. So I want to introduce, or at least let you know, who our panelists are for this morning. And I want to thank them all for giving us their time this morning. Don Jablonski, you can wave when I announce your name so folks will know who you are. There you go. Hi, Don, Director of Niagara County Employment and Training. Dennis Martinez, the Regional Coordinator for Business Engagement at XSVR. We've got Mary Alice Torba, Director of Workforce Development, Niagara County Community College. And we also have Chuck Deemer, who is a Literacy Zone Coordinator and Adult Vocational Program Manager with Orleans Niagara BOCES. And Frank Daniel, who is from the Independent Contractors Guild of Western New York. So welcome to all of our panelists. And again, thank you so much for giving us your very valuable time this morning. I want to remind all of our participants, and there are a good number of you out there, and we appreciate you joining us today and hope that you get some great information. You won't have to go crazy taking notes, folks, because we're going to be sending you an email soon, which will contain the slide deck, which you are about to see from our presenters. That slide deck will contain active links for you to click on to contact each and every one of our presenters. We will also be mailing you our Connections for Business publication, which has pertinent information in it, including important contacts for business development organizations in Niagara County, the region, and New York State. So be on the lookout for that. First, before we get into our actual presentation, a couple of housekeeping items. You will be muted throughout the presentation. If you have a question, please use the Q&A panel at the bottom of the screen, and we'll answer your questions at the end of our program. If we cannot answer all of your questions in our allotted time, we'll follow up with you afterwards and get you the information that you need. Today's workshop is designed to give you an overview of the various programs that are out there. We'd be happy to, any one of us would be happy to schedule a one-on-one meeting with you to discuss any of the programs in more detail. Just let us know in the Q&A panel, and we will reach back out to you. And also, I want to also thank my confidential assistant, Kathy Sinor, who has been phenomenal. Without her, I would not be able to do what I do. Thank you, Kathy, for setting this up and getting everybody in line, and we really appreciate your efforts. So let's get going. First and foremost, what I think I do before we hear from our presenters is tell you a little bit about what we do at Niagara County Department of Economic Development. There's my contact information. We do a business growth and retention program. We reach out to nearly 100 businesses every year to keep a good dialogue open with our companies and to update them on the various resources available to them by our department and those of our economic development partners. If you would like our team to meet with you, we can do an in-person visit. We can do a virtual visit, any way that you're comfortable with. Let us know in the Q&A panel, and we'll set something up as soon as possible and email you a confidential, fillable form questionnaire that gives us a snapshot of your company's needs. And there's a picture of that survey on the right. We'll send that to you as a fillable form, and that helps us develop the team that will be able to address your needs as quickly as possible. Next slide, Kathy. The county legislature has created a program that is a low-cost power program called Empower Niagara. This is a low-cost power program for small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses in Niagara County that do not qualify for the New York Power Authority's power programs. This slide gives you the qualifying criteria, and an online application can be found on our website, and that link is provided right here on this slide. Again, this is the criteria. If you look like in your business, you will be meeting this criteria, please reach out to us. And if you talk to any one of the Empower Niagara customers, they'll tell you it's probably one of the easier application processes that they would be involved in. We'll walk you right through it. We'll be there with you every step of the way. Next slide, Kathy. The New York Power Authority has low-cost power programs as well, including the expansion power, replacement power, and recharge New York programs. Now, the EP and the RP have a minimum allocation of 100 kW. and are evaluated on job creation and capital investment. Applicants must be doing a project within the 30-mile radius of the Niagara Power Project in Lewiston and making a long-term commitment to the region. The Recharge New York program is the Power Authority's signature statewide incentive program, which offers low-cost power to large businesses with a minimum peak demand of 400 kW and small businesses with a maximum peak demand of 400 kW. Not-for-profits are also eligible for the Recharge program. You can learn more by calling the 1-800 number on the slide or by clicking on that link. Or if you're having any problems at all getting information, all you need to do is contact me, and I will make sure that we put you in touch with Western New York's representative of NYPA. His name is Richard Smith, great guy. He'll be able to help you out. Next slide, Kathy. The EIC Open Sea PACE program. This is a unique financing program that channels private capital funding to industrial, commercial, and nonprofit building owners for renewable or energy efficiency upgrades at their facility. Financing from EIC-approved capital providers could cover up to 100% of your project costs. You can get more information about the program, including another fillable online application, on our website. And again, remember, you're looking at the slide and you see the link to that website. You'll be getting the slide deck, and all you'll need to do is click on that. You'll get right to the information you need, as well as an online application. Next slide, Kathy. If you're a business and you're looking for a larger site, you've kind of outgrown the site you're in, or if you're someone that's looking to start a company and you need to find a suitable building, Niagara County Site Finder is a very valuable tool for you. This interactive tool allows you to search available buildings or raw land sites and view our featured properties as well. There's an advanced search option that allows you to specify building or site type, size, sale, or lease, and a lot more. The site also gives you some great reports detailing demographics, workforce, income, spending characteristics, and more. And again, you'll find this tool on our website, and there, once again, you see a link that'll take you right there. Next slide, Kathy. Our office is also an official local affiliate data center, and that's under contract with the New York State Department of Labor. We are your clearinghouse for statistics that you need in your business planning process. CCC can do a great job with that too, but you know, there are two of us, and we'd love to be able to help you. Statistics include, but they're not limited to, demographics, housing information, income, educational attainment, and a lot more. And the data now is fresher than ever since the Census Bureau has come out with the American Community Survey, which they release on an annual basis. Next slide, Kathy. Now, this is the one-stop shop for economic development in Niagara County. We have our offices here. We lease our offices from the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency, or IDA, and they have a number of programs as well. They're a very, very important partner in our Economic Development Alliance. They have programs including real property sales and mortgage recording tax abatements. If you do not qualify for the NCIDA real property tax abatement or pilot program, you could take advantage of the New York State 485B program, which in essence is like a 10-year pilot program for you for significant non-maintenance improvements that would add to the assessment on your property. Tax relief would come on the value-added portion of that property. The IDA can also provide gap financing for projects through one of their loan funds. Next slide, Kathy. And the types of programs or projects that the IDA can assist with are seen right here on this slide: manufacturing, processing, warehouse distribution, R&D, commercial facilities, tourist destinations, healthcare, senior housing, so on and so forth. IDA can assist with any one of these types of programs. Next slide, Kathy. My good friend and colleague, Susan Langdon, is the executive director of the Niagara County IDA. There's her contact information. Again, hot links to get a hold of her through email or the telephone. And that is pretty much it. Again, my name is Michael Casale, Commissioner, Niagara County Department of Economic Development. I'm a phone call away if you have any questions. And by the way, if you've got questions, please hold them until the end of the program. And again, we'll try to get to them as many as we can. And Kathy's going to be keeping an eye on that Q&A panel as well. So now let's turn to our main topic for today: workforce development and training. And first up is my very good friend, Don Jablonski, who is the director of the Niagara County Department of Employment and Training. Don, take it away.
Thank you, Mike. I certainly do appreciate you and your staff organizing these workshops. I think they're very important to get the information out to all of our businesses in Niagara County. And I'd like to thank my fellow panel members, whom are very important partners in what we do here over at Niagara County Employment and Training and WorkSource One. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really do appreciate the help and cooperation that you provide us throughout the year. With that in mind, my name is Don Jablonski, and I am the director of Niagara County WorkSource One Employment and Training here, located in the Trot Access Center here in Niagara Falls. We serve the entire Niagara County area, and we're a big part of the workforce development system here in the county. Next slide, Kathy. Our department provides several things, but one of the biggest things is the training resources for businesses. We will pay up to 75% of any startup salary costs for any new hire. That means if you find somebody before you hire them, please contact our office so we can set up a meeting so we can determine if we can pay the training salary, and that's 75% up to $5,000 per person. So that's something very important that we do. And we've already done 72 of them this year. So, you know, the grant covers more than just one. So, and we work with approximately 270 businesses a year. We also provide customized training funds that'll help your existing workers learn things like a new program or a new machine that gets set up. We also have something called incumbent worker training, where if there's a new process that your company decides that you want to do, and for example, you want to have several of your employees become CDLA drivers, we can pay for the CDLA training. It's called upskilling. So that way, not only can you retain your workers, you can also give them opportunities to make more and be able to advance in the company. And that helps everybody remain more profitable. We'll also do things like classroom training, where if somebody needs to go back to school for something specific, whether, and you'll hear from places like Orleans Niagara BOCES and Frank Daniel about training for specific trades. We can pay up to $4,000 for training for those trades to do upskilling. So that's the type of thing that we do here. And we have approximately 5,000 people that come through our doors each and every year. So it's something that we do have a ready made available pool of potential employees. Next slide, Kath. We also do recruitment for our businesses. We hold weekly recruitment events where we meet probably 30, 40, or even sometimes 50 candidates to discuss your company's opportunities. I can tell you that through the advent of COVID, those numbers have shrunk somewhat, but as we come out of the pandemic, you know, whatever that really looks like, the numbers are starting to increase. And we may be able to start finding some good quality candidates to help fill the void that you folks may have. We have something called professional opportunity developers. That's for people in mid to upper management, or it could be somebody that is an engineering or a project manager or a maintenance tech that you may be looking for. We have those folks that come into our office once every couple of weeks to attend meetings and do certain marketing things. And we do not ever charge a fee. We'll also post and promote your job openings in high profile locations. That includes our hot jobs page. We also spider out to the Western New York Job Bank, the New York State Job Bank, and then it goes out to places like Indeed and Monster and Glassdoor. And we never charge for that, where you may end up having to pay if you went to those places direct. So we offer all this for free. Next slide. Additional recruitment tools, you know, we have what's called Niagara's Talent. that's a set of resumes where candidates have given us permission and they may have specific skill sets. So if you have something specific that you were recruiting for, please let us know. We'll also do employment screening or employment testing for specific candidates. We do that for several companies now. And obviously we hold open interview sessions weekly. It depends on what your demands are. We'll do even pre-employment literary or skills testing. So we can do virtually anything that you need to help you find and recruit and retain talent. I have to say that we also work a little bit with disability resources, but there's a gentleman that's on this panel that does phenomenal work with that particular segment. So with that in mind, I appreciate you having me. And next slide, Kath. Here's my contact information. If anyone has any questions, or if you need me to set up an interview or schedule a time, I would certainly be more than happy to. Again, thank you so much for having me. And Mike, thank you for giving me the time.
Don,
You are always welcome, Don. I think sometimes we're tied at the hip when it comes to assisting businesses.
It seems that way, Mike. You and I travel to the same places more often than not these days. So again, thank you very much.
And that phenomenal gentleman that Don was talking about is Dennis Martinez. He's the regional coordinator for business engagement at XSVR. So I'm going to turn it over to Dennis Martinez. Dennis?
Thank you, Mike and Don. I don't know if I can live up to that adjective that you gave me, but I will give it my best shot. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your interest in our presentation today. XSVR is an acronym for Adult Career and Continuing Education Services Vocational Rehabilitation. Next slide, please. Our mission, what we do, is to assist persons with disabilities to achieve employment, to remove those barriers that are caused by their disability through training, education, and career development. Next slide. XSVR is part of the Workforce Development System in New York State. It receives both federal and state funding. We're part of the New York State Education Department, and we have 15 district offices throughout New York. The Buffalo District Office serves 8 counties of Western New York, and that includes Niagara County. Each year, XSVR helps about 12,000 New Yorkers with disabilities to become gainfully employed. Next slide. XSVR has 2 customers: the people with disabilities who come to us with a desire to work, and businesses with hiring needs. Next slide. Some of the strategies, or strategies, as I like to say, for business needs include, we'll just go down this list here. We have a qualified talent pool available to fill open positions. So send us your job openings. No cost recruitment of pre-screened candidates. We can help federal contractors and subcontractors fulfill their mandated recruiting requirements. As you may or may not know, Section 503 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 is a law that requires employers to take affirmative action to recruit, hire, promote, and retain people with disabilities. We have a local support network. We work cooperatively with Mr. Jablonski's program and other workforce development entities, including the New York State Department of Labor, as well as many non-for-profit groups. If we can fill a position, we share job leads with all of those other entities to help ensure that good candidates are found and that the business is satisfied. Okay, the next thing here, financial incentives and tax credits. XSVR offers OJT, much more generous OJT, I might add, than Mr. Jablonski's, and other wage reimbursement programs, as well as tax credits that can defray a substantial amount of hiring costs. We have no-cost disability training as well. XSVR has trainers certified by the ADA Center at Cornell University to provide training in a variety of topics related to disability and employment, including disability awareness and disability etiquette. In the area of retention, we can help businesses retain valuable employees who may be acquiring a disability due to perhaps aging. Certainly, we are an aging workforce. A couple of years ago, we helped a company, an OEM by the name of Cutco, that makes high-end knives and other cutlery kinds of products, and they do a lot of telephone sales. And they had an individual working with them who was excellent at what she did. And she used a headset, but she was losing her hearing, probably again due to age. And she found that the headset was not giving her enough sound, and it was incompatible with some of her hearing aid devices. So that we brought in the Center for Assistive Technology at UB, did a worksite evaluation, and came up with a solution that helped her and the company keep her as a valuable employee, a technology that would work with the headset and the hearing aid. So we can do that as well. In business engagement, we have business engagement with both adults and youth. We work with local high schools for student career exploration, internships, and mentoring opportunities. Get them while they're young, I always say. If you're going to work with people toward employment and successful employment, the earlier the better. And we are the single point of contact for all of the above and other services as well. Next slide, please. Some of the businesses that work with Access VR throughout New York State. You see here, some of them are local. Price Chopper, interestingly enough, has just merged with Tops Markets. So that's a company that we work with in both sides of New York State. Some of the others that are more local that have benefited from hiring people with disabilities are Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center, Delaware North, Seneca Gaming, Roswell Park, M&T Bank, and many others. We also work with city, town, and village governments throughout the region, and New York State Civil Service as well, to place people with disabilities in government jobs. And speaking of business, Access VR can also assist individuals with disabilities with startup costs associated with self-employment. Next slide, please. And here are some comments from Conserve, which is a local customer service organization, about their partnership with Access VR. You can look at that later when you get the slide deck. I won't read it to you, but they have an office in Cheektowaga and one in Rochester, and we've worked with them quite extensively over the years. Next slide, please. Here are some resources for you to take a look at later about the tax credits that we can offer employers who work with us to hire people with disabilities. The two top ones there, the work opportunity tax credit, or the WOTC, some people say WOTC, and the workers with disabilities employment tax credit, the WETC, or some people say WETC, are the ones that I can address just briefly now. The WOTC is a federal tax credit worth up to $2,400 per individual hired during the first year of employment. And the WETC is a New York State tax credit that is worth up to $2,100 for each individual hired during the second year of employment. That would be amount to a savings of almost $5,000, $4,500 during the first 2 years. And those tax credits are available for every individual that's hired through Access VR. Next slide, please. And there are some additional resources for you. And again, next slide. So what do we call the value of relationship between Access VR and business? We say that it is a bright idea leading to success for all. And next slide is my contact information. Everything on there is correct, except they left off my email address, which is Dennis dot, everybody's middle name is dot, you know, Dennis dot Martinez at nysed.gov. And I thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I will be happy to answer them. Thank you again.
Thanks, Dennis. And remember, everybody, all those links that were on Don's slide, or Dennis's slides, are hot links. So you'll be able to get right to those programs. And this is available. If you got questions, there's his phone number. Just give him a call. He's very accessible to you, which is why they named the access. He's very accessible. You like that, Dennis? Did that work?
Yep.
Okay, let's move along. We'd like to introduce our next next presenter, and that's Mary Alice, Director of Workforce Development, Niagara County Community College. Mary Alice, you're up. Mary Alice, I think you're still muted.
Sorry
There
about
you
that.
go.
Good morning. I'm the Director for Workforce Development at Niagara County Community College. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. Our mission here is to provide innovative, customer responsive training opportunities that lead to the economic development of our community. We're set out to empower the community through the development of skilled, dynamic, and diverse workforce. Next slide. We do a variety of training. For companies, our top training topics include ocean safety, supervisory and leadership skills, Microsoft Office and project management type topics, trade and industrial areas, and culinary and hospitality. So we have a variety of training that directly relates to the workforce. We have some grants to do that. Next slide, please. So this past year, 2019, 2020, or I'm sorry, 2020, 2021, we had 2,358 individual registrations working with over 100 businesses and 54,819 contact hours in class doing training in all kinds of areas. We have apprenticeships training that we've done. We've worked with companies who have certified apprenticeships in providing training for them. We have basic life support. We do blueprint reading, communication skills, a lot of computer topics. Excel is probably our most popular. We've done the introduction to Excel, the intermediate Excel, and the advanced Excel with a number of employees. We do have a very large culinary program here, and we do hospitality, into the hospitality and culinary class, as well as individual culinary classes. We have a drone program. We do management leadership. We do industrial math, ocean safety, of course, project management, Serve Safe and Tips, which is part of our culinary, Six Sigma, SolidWorks, and team building. We also have pharmacy technician programs, sterile processing programs. We run EMT programs. We've done some other things like AED training for companies, and things like safe schools training for active shooter training for schools as well. Next slide. Next slide, please. Our culinary and hospitality does menu consultation, recipe development, pre-employment training, which would be our hospitality. Serve Safe Food Handler, Serve Safe Manager trainings, tips training, ACF certifications, the executive chef training, team building, product testing. She also has in the past created calendars and with menus on them for associations locally, the Maple Association. So a lot of different things to help industry through the culinary and hospitality. Next slide. We currently have funding for companies. So we have a number of companies participating in a DOL hazard abatement grant. They're able to get training at little to no cost from us for hazard abatement type areas, things like forklift training, things like handling hazardous waste, slips, trips, and fall training. Such a large number of training is done through those grants. SUNY Workforce Development Training Grant is a grant where we work with an individual company. It is up to $15,000, and we provide training through that for companies. We have SUNY apprenticeships training that we provide, so the company signs up for the apprenticeship, and at that point we can provide some of the pre-apprenticeship training, some of the apprenticeship training. We work with companies to set that up. That is a really great thing for a company. It's a registered apprentice, which gives the company some advantage. It comes with some funding for the apprentice in terms of pay. It keeps the person employed and moving ahead, as did some of the other programs talked about. It also offers some tax breaks through the apprenticeship training if it's done through SUNY. So there's some funding for that through tax breaks as well. Next slide. Okay, and this shows how the registered apprenticeships fit in and how employers fit in into our training system. So we train, and then our people get skilled. They go out and work with employers. And so next slide. Okay, and a little bit more on apprenticeships. The SUNY apprenticeship program, there is up to $5,000 of related tuition costs covered for registered apprenticeships. The SUNY College can do some pre-apprenticeship training. In addition to that, there's some of the cost for the registered apprentices working in programs is covered. We work with advanced manufacturing, so that there are quite a bit of advanced manufacturing and training for registered apprenticeship. The SUNY apprenticeship expansion grant is another way to find funding through apprenticeships. If you're interested in doing apprenticeships, definitely contact us and we can help with that. Next slide. And here is the contact information. You can reach me either at the phone number, the 614-6213 number. My email address is there. Our courses are all listed out under the workforce development link on the bottom. There is also a link that talks a little bit about apprenticeships and some of the various training for companies. Thank you.
Mary Alice, that's some excellent information. We really appreciate that, especially the apprenticeship program. Thank you. Let's move on now. Our next presenter is Chuck Beamer, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Chuck. Literacy Zone Coordinator, Adult Vocational Program Manager with Orleans Niagara BOCES. Chuck, take it away.
Thank you, sir. And you are pronouncing it right. So if you were a telemarketer, I would at least let you get to the next sentence. So let me let me start by, as everyone else, thank you for having me and BOCES at this conversation. I'm excited to share some of the things we're working on and what we are doing, and I might even pepper in a few requests for help along the way. So next slide, please. So in the adult and continuing education world for Orleans Niagara BOCES, we kind of fit into a few different categories. From the skilled trade side, our programs, again, there's a few different kind of ways we approach it. For the most part, we try to focus on what we call full-time programs. So what that really means as far as you or your potential employees are concerned is a full-time program generally looks something like 4 days a week for 4 hours a day and runs usually 11 to 12 weeks, depending on the calendar and holidays and things like that. So around 216 hours, again, 12 weeks, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. That can mean a lot of different things. So as an example, our current electrical program is taught by one of GM's master electricians. He works third shift, so he gets out of work at 8:30 a.m., comes over to our training center in Lockport and teaches an electrical program from 9 to 1. Our heating and cooling program taught by NOCO's HVAC install technician. He works days, so he works a full day, comes over into the evening in our Harrison Place training center in Lockport and teaches from 6 to 10 at night. And then our welding program in Niagara Falls, again, taught by an iron worker, a 20-year veteran in the union. And that class is 3:30 to 7:30 in the evening. So we're very flexible as far as needing to meet the demands of the industry and the location and times. And we can really do whatever it takes from that standpoint to offer trainings that are, again, accessible for your employees and then whoever else we're trying to serve. Our part-time programs are usually, to be honest, just kind of those full-time programs divided up into smaller segments. So it really nothing more to say there. It's our part-time electrical programs are just 3 different sections of the full-time program. So each of them around 72 hours. And then as far as apprenticeships go, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, we can do some customized trainings and then some of the more in-demand trainings that are needed to further the apprenticeships along. I will fully admit that that's not a world I spend a lot of time in. I've got a skilled trade specialist who's one of his full-time jobs is to work with the apprenticeships and the apprentices in Niagara County. So if you need more information in regards to that, which I know a lot of you probably do, I will be happy to put you in touch with. His name's Clement Hutchinson, and he can help you navigate that system a little more effectively than I can. And then health occupations. A few main categories there: licensed practical nursing, CNA, home health aide, and phlebotomy. Next slide, please. So the reason I included this, not only to say that our adult skilled trades exist in several, and health occupations exist in a few locations, but I really want to stress the approach we've taken in the last 5 or 6 years to try to identify some of the needs in the community. So we do, it's hopefully not a secret that BOCES has 2 fantastic training centers in Medina and Sanborn, full of something like 45 different programs geared towards high schoolers and trying to upskill and produce a young, ready-to-go workforce in all those areas. My problem on the adult side has always been transportation. Again, not a big secret in Niagara County that public transportation is hard to come by. So as a result, and quite frankly, after 6 or 8 years of banging my head against that problem, we decided that we were just going to try to put the trainings where the people are. So quite frankly, the reason 50 Main Street, Harrison Place in Lockport, and then 6 and Walnut in Niagara Falls, where I happen to be sitting now, exist is because we needed to eliminate that transportation barrier for our potential students. And we needed to put the trainings where the people could get to them. So again, not to in any way downplay how spectacular our high school trainings are. And if you get a chance, please go take a tour of one of those technical centers, because it's incredible all the different things they're doing. It's just a different need set at the adult level. So again, that's kind of why I included that. So just to give you kind of a lay of the landscape, at the 50 Main Street location in Lockport, we have our electrical program. We have space to do some additional programming that's not quite as equipment intensive, things like blueprint reading, schematics, security guard training, OSHA training. We have a big room, big facility available for any of those types of programs that we run occasionally that don't require a room full of equipment. And then at Harrison Place, which is the old Harrison Radiator building, a block away from 50 Main Street on Walnut and Lockport, we have our heating and cooling, our HVAC program. And we also have additional space that we've secured in that facility, and we're looking at expanding some of our other programs into that, hopefully in this coming year. And then 6th and Walnut, our workforce training center in Niagara Falls. We have machining, which I'll talk more about in a minute. And looking at the name of people that are attending this call, some of you've heard from me regarding that training. Our welding program, building trades, and all of our nursing programs as well. And I think I mentioned 50 Main Street also has all of our nursing programs. Health occupations, it's no secret. It's a major, major need right now. And we're training as fast as we can, but we have all those programs that exist in 2 different locations to try to fill some of the needs that have been caused in the last few years in the health occupations world. Next slide, please. So as far as the full-time trades programs go, and again, those are the 12-week, 4-hour-a-day, 4-day-a-week programs, we're really focusing on 6 things, and that's really tied to the work that Mr. Jablonski's group does in identifying the different in-demand sectors for our community. And those are, again, what I would call the basics when people think of BOCES: electrical, heating and cooling, machining, welding, building trades, and automotive. So let me go back to machining for a minute. The biggest struggle we have in the adult education world at the skilled trade level is finding instructors. And it is a little bit of a disconnect between education and the business sector. And what I literally mean by that is that the folks that are able to be instructors have no idea they're allowed to be instructors. So let me kind of squash some myths, and you can help me get the word out a little bit. You don't need any specialized credentials, training, or education to be an instructor at the adult level. You just need to be able to do the job. There are some minor requirements, obviously some trainings and some short-term things you would need to go through, but the moral of the story is, if you can do the job, you can teach it. And so let me come back to machining specifically. I have an incredible state-of-the-art machining lab about 50 feet from where I'm sitting that I haven't used in 2 years because I cannot find an instructor. And again, as I'm looking at the listed names, I think a few of you heard from me over the summer when I took on this role. And the conversation went something like this: if you can send me someone for 12 weeks to train people, I'll send you 10 people back. And the answer unanimously was, we would absolutely love to, and we cannot spare that person for 10 weeks. So this is my call to arms. If you know someone that has any experience machining, we're doing all 4 aspects of machining, both manual and CNC lathing and milling, and we have all the equipment brand new to go into that. So anyone that works for you that's either looking for a little extra money, anyone that's maybe partially retired looking for something else to do, someone that is fully retired that wants to pass on their knowledge, we pay around $30 an hour. And I would love to hear from anyone that's interested, really, in any of these things. We're always looking for more instructors in the adult ed world, but again, machining is particular because we've got this beautiful, beautiful lab with brand new state-of-the-art equipment that we can't use until we find a teacher for it. So anyone in that world, again, please reach out to me and let's have a conversation. I'd love to have you come in and take a look at our labs, and if nothing else, give us some feedback and help us try to get that program running, because we know it's a major need in the industry. We know how desperate the manufacturing world is for machine repairmen, machinists, and things like that. We're trying, but I am striking out in finding an instructor. So any help you can provide me would be fantastic. Next slide, please. And then some of the part-time / apprenticeship trainings we run more on an on-demand basis. And again, some of you have reached out to me regarding this, and the conversation is very, very grassroots. We'll get a call from a company saying, hey, we have 3 people that need to learn blueprint reading. We have 3 people that need to learn pipe fitting and rigging, things like that. And we try to run those programs kind of on an as-need basis. It's not something we generally publish in the typical semester calendar, because every year we never have enough students to run those programs. So if you do have a need, particularly for apprenticeships, again, I will put you in touch with Clement Hutchinson, our specialist that deals with all the apprenticeships for Niagara County. And if there's a program we can run that there's a need for, that you have students or employees, I should say, that have a need for those trainings, we will absolutely run it. We have the space to do it. Again, if we can find the instructor, we'll be happy to run those programs when you need them as often as we can. And again, flexibility as far as location, times, we can fit your schedule as long as the students are there. Next slide, please. Again, a little bit about the health occupations. The LPN program, Licensed Practical Nursing, is around 14 months. It is federally funded for us. It is FAFSA eligible. It is expensive. I think it's around $16,000 for those 14 months, but also employment and training. And Don's group does provide some support to that as well. So typically our students get funded. So even though it's a long program, it's a very intense program. It's around 5 hours a day, 4 days a week. For 14 months, but the LPNs, once they're through that training, they're making incredible wages. It really is. It's the most intense program we offer, but it's also incredibly rewarding, both financially for the students once they graduate, but also again, the need right now in the health occupations field is tremendous. So the good side of that is pay is going up, and the same is also true for the CNAs and the home health aides. The pay is increasing significantly, we're seeing in the last couple of years as the demand goes up. And I won't get into the weeds too much. I'm sure that bubble will burst a bit at some point, but as of now, these are all fields that are very lucrative and are incredibly in demand. So anyone that's looking to get into the health occupations field, we've got trainings running constantly. We're starting new classes for all of these things. So please get a hold of us if you have anyone that's interested in any of the health occupations fields that we train in. Next slide, please. And then the kind of third arm to the adult education world, as far as Orleans Niagara BOCES is concerned, is our literacy, ESL, and literacy zone programs. So these traditionally are really just GED programs. That's kind of the basis of what we do in the literacy world, is take folks that for whatever reason didn't finish high school the first time. We help them get to that GED. And a quick clarification note on that. It wasn't GED 2 months ago, 3 months ago now. For about 8 years, it was a different test called TASC. So I just try not to confuse terms. New York is back to using the GED as the standard test to achieve the high school equivalency. And then the literacy zones are kind of the umbrella above that provide support services, case management, referrals, and really a holistic approach to supporting our adult students that are trying to achieve their high school equivalency and then go on to hopefully either enter one of our trainings or go on to, certainly we have a lot of students that go to NCCC once they do get their high school equivalency with us and right over to the Culinary Institute. We try to actively pipeline our high school graduates into the next phase for them. Hopefully that is some training. And when I say this is not lip service. We don't push anything. If a student says, I want to go to an Erie One BOCES program, that's where they go. If they say, I want to go to NCCC, that's where they go. We don't try to convince them to take an Orleans Niagara BOCES training. Once you get your high school diploma, that next step is completely up to the student, and we fully support them, again, from case management to referral services to all the different things that they might need to help make them effective in whatever that next step happens to be for them. And then again, ESL and citizenship, we're heavily involved in all the resettlements and in that sort of thing. We have a major population out and on the kind of eastern side of our footprint for all of the migrant farm workers, all the agricultural workers. We have schools and classrooms set up throughout the two counties, both Orleans and Niagara, that we serve to help, again, provide English services, citizenship, naturalization, and then anything in between, and to help those folks, be more successful while they're here. Next slide. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. Again, it's a lot of information. Anything at all, any questions you have, please reach out to me. Again, if you want to come see our labs, you want to come see any of our training centers and see what we're doing, where we're doing it. I love giving tours, and any help you can give us as far as identifying potential instructors in any of these realms. Again, I can't stress it enough. We'd love to run the trainings, but if we can't find an instructor, then there's not too much we can do about it. So any help you can provide would be great. And nothing else, thank you again for having me.
Chuck, I'm sure we'll have a conversation a little later on that call to arms.
I appreciate it.
A great presentation. We appreciate that very, very much.
Thank you.
Finally, we have the cleanup hitter for today is a very exciting program that I'm glad to welcome in. It's the first time and hopefully not last time that we're going to hear from Frank Daniel from the Independent Contractors Guild of Western New York. Exciting news, bringing Craft Technical Institute to Niagara County. So Frank, I'm going to turn it over to you, and welcome and thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Michael, and I really appreciate being part of this really most august group. I've been doing this for many years, the construction training, and I've never been as excited about doing something as I am now, especially after listening to everyone's presentation. But the Independent Contractors Guild is a guild, a cadre of contractors who come together because of the need that we're hearing here today for construction workers and for providing a skilled, trained workforce for contractors in the construction industry. Everyone knows that the industry is in need, and everyone here involved in the training and preparation of a workforce is needed to meet the needs and the goals of the industry going forward. So I see not a competition, but a collaborative. Some of the problems, Chuck, that you mentioned, we have the same problems as well. So together, I think this kind of venue helps us to prepare the construction industry with qualified work. And not only that, the contractors who are in need of capacity and conducting their contracts, we provide that collaborative so that they can have the kind of capacity to do jobs that are maybe bigger than their current company capacity. So that next slide. Our mission, again, as the Independent Contractors Guild, we're a New York State registered DOL apprenticeship program. That's why we have the collaboration of contractors to give us their input as to what kind of training that they need specifically. And we gear our training in our pre-apprenticeship program towards the needs of the industry. Obviously, once they go into apprenticeship, they're hired by a contractor, and their career is on track. But before they do, we need to know what their skill level is before they go into an apprenticeship program, so that they're impacting the company in a positive way day one. We provide the ongoing education for them through the apprenticeship program, where the companies are able to get the benefit of having manufacturers coming in to explain new techniques, products, new machinery that'll be used on the job sites, as well as an ongoing academic program where the students, the apprentices come in the evening or on Zoom right now to learn the technical processes from an academic standpoint in their trades. ICG also prepares them for the employment with these companies for long-term career opportunities. So persons who come through the program are designed to look at this not as a job, but as a career opportunity. So we try to do as much in the preparation phase for employment, so that it's a long-term relationship at the end. The next slide. So as I mentioned, there's a twofold approach that we have to training our apprentices, and I think that the customized training, which is a pre-apprenticeship kind of program, helps us to identify the prowess of a person who wants to get into the construction field. Oftentimes, persons come to a construction program with an idea that they want to be a carpenter. And once they get in and start swinging the hammer, they realize that maybe HVAC is a little bit more tasteful to us. We put them through a multi-training, discipline process to see what their ability is to do a project or a trade, and if they like the trade. If you like it, you'll do it. And so we find out what a person's technical level is in that instance before we place them with a company for an apprenticeship. And that way we have more likely a long-term match. Next slide. And we talked about that right at the outset. There's a need for training. There's a need in this country for persons to fill the void of the aging population in the construction field. There's some statistics here that are probably outdated by now because of the retirement. The COVID has decimated the industry. And now we need more people to be trained in the construction field, replace so many people leaving. So all of us here were involved in making this a reality. This growing of our skilled labor force is needed in that way. Next slide. Again, the IC Construction Labor Apprenticeship Program is a program that is registered by the State Department of Labor. We are designed again to prepare persons for the construction industry to be able to fill those current jobs that are being lost almost daily. Next slide. Our customized training portion of ICG is something that we developed in response to businesses and their particular needs, where we take the business's interest and train directly to their specific needs. Again, all of our instructors are certified, licensed New York State instructors in their specific fields. For example, if a company needed their persons who are already employed, needed them to be upskilled in, for example, pipe welding, then we would devise a course specifically for those needs and inaugurate a custom training program to meet those specific skill needs. And that goes across the board in all 17 trades. Next slide. Currently in Buffalo, we've had a company who builds or rehabs custom trailers, containers for model homes. So they have a need for a workforce of up to 20 people right now. And we're engaged with them to use a group of young people that are part of our program, 17 students, to build and refit these custom containers to make model homes. Or right now, the disaster areas who need housing, temporary housing, and that sort of thing. So we're preparing a group of young ones right now in the Buffalo area to rehab, refit these containers to make homes for persons in need. Right now, I'm in the Niagara Falls office having this conversation with you. We're located here at 2419 Hyde Park Boulevard. And in the back, we're doing the same thing. But these are the high-end models that are going to be shipped out to other states. But we can do the same thing here in Niagara Falls. So we're preparing a pre-workforce that as soon as these ones graduate, that they're going to be doing these model homes for the specific company. So we do customized training, not only in carpentry, but welding and HVAC, heavy equipment operation, and that sort of thing. So we're trying to establish ourselves as a pre-industry source for qualified workers. Next slide. And this is part of the walls that would be built inside of these containers. Students here are learning the electrical. They'll be doing the plumbing, the drywalling, all the aspects of getting trailers to a home, right from start to finish, soup to nuts kind of thing. Next slide. Now, again, we are independent contractors, Guild Western New York. We are interested in continuing the educational piece to make sure that we have a qualified workforce for the actually the entire region. This is our information that you can contact us at. Also, we, as I said, we have the office here at 2419 Hyde Park Boulevard here in Niagara Falls. That number there is good to reach me here. So please feel free to reach out. But I also just wanted to add another piece to it. We also are connected to a New York State licensed trade school where we do all the trades, the Craft Technical Institute, which is our instructional arm to the Independent Contractors Guild apprenticeship program. So we try to be as comprehensive in our approach to training and employment, providing a solid workforce as possible. So if anyone is interested in learning more about our program, please reach out and we'll be glad to talk to you about it, as I am and able to reach out to you and see if we have collaborative interests in mind and in heart, make for a better workforce. Thank you.
Frank, thank you so much. And I just want to thank all of our presenters. You'll note that the people who signed on to hear your messages, none of them left. I mean, that tells me that your message is extremely important. And we appreciate the time you gave us to get that message out there and all the resources that are available. What I'd like to do now is ask Kathy if she can check that Q&A box, see if we have any questions for any of our presenters. Kathy, are there any questions?
We do have one from Valerie. She was wondering if WorkSource One has any financial assistance for forklift certification.
We'll turn that one to Don. Right
Right now, we do not, because the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act law says that we have to have 150 clock hours for some sort of formal training. Unfortunately, if there is a program that does do that for forklift certification, we are unaware of it. So I have to apologize, but at this point in time, we do not have funding for that. There may be funding from another source, so.
There is, through hazard abatement grants from the Department of Labor, there is some funding. If companies tack on to a college with that sort of funding, there is some through those DOL grants.
Valerie, I would reach out to Mary Alice Torba. She can give you more information, right, Mary Alice?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
If I could also, Mike.
Okay, Frank, go ahead.
One of our companies does the forklift certifications, and I will get the information on that to see if it qualifies for funding. But that's an in-house certification, and if it's 150 hours, I'll find out, but I'll get back to you.
Thank you so much. And I hope that helps you out, Valerie. I'm sure these guys are gonna get right back to you ASAP. Are there any other questions, Kathy?
That's all for right now, Mike.
Okay. Once again, the presenters, thank you so much for your time. Again, people hung on right to the bitter end to hear your message, and we appreciate the time you gave us today. And to all the
Oh, Mike,
participants,
Mike,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, we do have another question just popped up.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
There's a question asking, is there a CPR or first aid training to meet OSHA requirements?
Well, that sounds like it's another Mary Alice.
It is, we do have that as well.
As well as ICG.
Fantastic. So whoever that question came from, there you go. Frank and Mary Alice are your resource. Any more, Kathy?
That's it, Mike.
Thank you. Well, participants, you're all still there, it looks like. When you leave this session, you're going to get a survey that'll appear in a new window on your internet browser. We would appreciate your comments and feedback about today's program, and we hope to see you again at a future event. Again, thanks, presenters. Everybody have a great day, and you take care. We'll talk to you again.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.